has a lot of elastic fibers which are in the walls of these vessels, and it consists of three parts. So there will be choroid, which is posterior bigger part, corresponds the mainly sclera. Then there is ciliary body here, closer to the front, to the corner, and then iris. Iris is a split which stays perpendicular and has inside, in the middle, the pupilla, the opening. So choroid, or choroid, how they say, has very small space, like between the potential space, we can say, between the choroid and the sclera, yeah? But it can move a little bit due to this in front when the ciliary muscle contracts. So then a ciliary body. The ciliary body consists of two parts. If to look inside, from inside, we don't see here actually, will be ciliary orbiculus, closer to the choroid, flattened part, and anterior part, which consists of a lot of processes, and they're called choroid processes, yeah? So they look like, oh, no, sorry, choroid, ciliary processes. They look like cilia, yeah, so therefore the name, there are a lot of them. You will see, no, like this, you see how they look like. So, and here, these processes, ciliary processes, are connected by the ligament, which is called ciliary zonule, or suspensory ligament of lens, with the capsule of lens, so, and lens actually. What the function of the ciliary body? It has two functions. These processes which we have, ciliary processes, they produce aqueous humor. This is fluid. This is similar how the choroid plexus is produced, the cerebrospinal fluid. Here, this aqueous humor, which fill the chambers of the eye. Then the other function is contraction. So we have muscle here, muscle fibers inside this ciliary body, and these muscle fibers will be here. They have different direction, you know, there is, see the nice picture. So how they can run? They run in the like meridian direction, along the meridians. They run in the circular, like this direction, and radial direction, like this. And these different kind of fibers do different things. So meridian and circular, when they contract, they push in front the ciliary processes by pulling a little bit in front the whole choroid, yeah, or just making closer these ciliary processes because of contraction of circular fibers, yeah. So this way, the ligament, which is suspensory ligament of lens, will be relaxed, yeah. And due to this, the capsule of the lens will be relaxed and it becomes thicker. The curvature is increased, yeah, so therefore it allows us to see closer objects. When we need to look at something very far from us, then radial fibers, which will contract and they pull like this. This, ciliary ligament, yeah, so therefore the lens becomes flattened. And when we just relax our muscle, when we just sit and do nothing, like just looking around, yeah, so then mainly these fibers are relaxed. So this process is called accommodation, yeah, when the lens of the, when the curvature of the lens changes. So this is two main functions of the ciliary body. Then we have iris over here in front of the lens. It is plate, vertically extending with the hole. As I said, this hole is called pupilla. So therefore, in the iris, we distinguish a pupillary border, which is free over here, and a ciliary border, which continues with the ciliary processes. Okay. So iris, as you know, it is for a pupil for letting some light coming in, yeah, and it regulates the amount of light getting inside. So by contraction of muscles, which we have over here in the iris, they have pigmental layers. So here two pigmental layers, outside and inside, and different layers which you studied in histology, or maybe you will study. And muscles, two muscles are located here. One is dilator of pupil. It runs in radial direction, and the other sphincter of pupil, which runs in the circular direction. So they work very fast, changing the diameter of the pupil, by reflex. Okay, so this is what we describe it as vascular layer, and then finally we have layer which is nervous or retina. Retina is inside, and the retina has two layers in the most parts, like two layers, which is pigmental layer, layer of thin one layer of cells, pigmented cells, which lie next to the choroid. And by the way, this is what I haven't said. This choroid or choroid, how do you call it? So this has a lot of melanin. Yeah. So therefore, when we look inside the eye, yeah, cut it. Yeah. So it will be a brownish color, a brown color in the humans, and what we have cow eye, so it will be just black. Yeah. So because of a lot of pigment. So then. And therefore, different amount of pigment is responsible for color of our iris. So now I'm talking about the retina. So two layers we distinguish. The most external layer, which is closer to the vascular layer, it is layer of pigment cells. Yeah, and then nervous layer, which consists of several layers of neurons, okay, neurosensory cells, but we distinguish just three because we need them to conduct impulse. Yeah. So closer to the pigment layer, it is rods and cones. Yeah, which transform the energy of light into the nervous impulse. Then we have bipolar cells and then ganglion cells. Ganglion cells are closer to the center of the eye. Yeah. These receptor centers are closer to the periphery. And from the ganglion cells, we will have the axons, which form the optic nerve. They converge in the place at the posterior wall of the eyeball and form the optic nerve. So this structure we will have in the optic region, optic zone of the eyeball, of the retina. Where is optic? Behind the level of the ciliary body. Okay, so here, because light just falls over here, it never falls on the ciliary body or internal surface of the iris. It cannot go like this. Yeah, so therefore we don't need here this nervous layer. Yeah, just pigment layer we will find in the ciliary body and iris posteriorly. Yeah, on here. The border between the optic part and blind part, and it is called ora serrata. Ora serrata corresponds the connection between the ciliary body and cornea. So this is a retina. And we have two pores on the posterior wall of the eyeball. This will be optic disc, yeah, or optic disc or blind spot. Where we don't have sensory cells, here just fibers, so therefore it is blind, disc of optic nerve, and it is located medial to the posterior pole of the eye, and lateral to the posterior pole of the eye we have the macular or yellow spot. Yeah, so it has also central fovea, which is the place of the most acuity of our vision. So here you can see the posterior wall of the eyeball. This is optic disc, disc of optic nerve, and from this place we see a lot of arteries coming out, and veins also. Arteries just more seen better, and these are branches of the central retinal artery. Yes, so we can see like this. And lateral to the posterior pole we have this macula, and in the middle of the macula we see that there will be fovea centralis. Why it is seen the best way over here? Because first here we have just cones, yeah, they give us more detailed vision in the macular cones, and here in the fovea centralis, as you see light falls directly on the layer of the sensory cells, yeah, of this cones, yeah, because we have these two layers like going apart, yeah, and this light comes directly on the cones. So here, this is about retina. Then we have something inside the eye, yeah. These are called refractory media. The main refractory media is the cornea. The light, runs like this, and then broken, yeah. So this is refraction is called. So to have the light converged on the base of the best vision. So the cornea does this reflection. Then the second by strength of this reflection will be lens, yeah, especially when it is curved, when this muscle is contracted, ciliary muscle. So what can we say about the lens? Lens has two poles, anterior, posterior. Anterior more flattened, posterior more convex. So then we distinguish also equator between the anterior and posterior segment. And this is actually should be absolutely transparent, elastic, yeah, to allow this accommodation. And as we said, it is surrounded by capsule connective tissue and suspended by suspensory ligament of lens, or it is called syn ligament of syn by author, or zonula ciliaris, yeah. And this ligament, as we said, is connected to the ciliary processes, okay. So then, behind there will be big space, which is filled with the corpus vitreum or vitreous body. It is also transparent media, which is like jelly texture, consistency, and has the membrane which covers this, yeah, gives this shape to the eyeball and supports the pressure inside the eyeball. And the same does the fluid which is located in the anterior and posterior chamber. So this fluid, as we said, is produced by the ciliary processes. So what are chambers? Posterior chamber is located, no, let's start with anterior. Anterior is here, cornea, between the cornea and iris, okay? This is anterior chamber of the iris. Posterior will be behind the iris. Then laterally is bordered by the ciliary body, then syn ligament, and also lens, yeah? And the two are connected through the pupilla. So here in the posterior chamber will be formed this aqueous humor. Then from here it runs through the pupil, enters the anterior chamber, and should be removed from here. So there is one way, the more like bigger way, into this sinus, scleral venous sinus or Schlemm canal, which is located like this. It is kind of venous vessel of the sclera. So, and the other way, so it can be absorbed by the vessels of the choroid, vascular layer, yeah? So this is so-called uveal pathway, yeah? So two pathways, and there are medicines which affect both of them, yeah? When we have increased pressure inside. So if this fluid is produced but doesn't flow out like the same rate, yeah, so then it will be accumulated and cause the bulbar pressure, intraocular pressure increase. So this disease is called glaucoma. So therefore, the people who has like this have eye drops which dilate the vessels and increase the absorption of this fluid. And this pathway to the Schlemm canal runs through the angle between the cornea and iris. It is called iridocorneal angle. Here there are trabeculums which lead this fluid into the venous sinus of sclera. Here,
Tell.
this one. Trabeculus, and through this trabeculus, the arcus humor gets into the venous sinus. So this is what we have inside, and then it will be accessory structures, and accessory structures you will read by yourself, yeah? So this will be something which is in front of the eye. It is palpebra, cilia, eyebrows, conjunctiva, which covers the eyelids from inside, and the sclera, but not cornea. Then it will be lacrimal apparatus, all the structures which are for conduction of tears. Then muscles which move the eyeball, okay? And then this adipose body behind the eyeball, and there will be tenon capsule or vagina bulbi, which is located here behind the eyeball, and fix it and hold it when the muscle are contract, not to pull it back. Yeah, and periosteum, which lines the orbit. Okay, so here we have some